The green anaconda is the heaviest snake alive. Almost every part of the animal suits a life in water. Its eyes and nostrils sit high on the head, allowing the rest of its body to disappear beneath the surface. Olive skin and dark markings hide it among mud, shadows, and floating plants. Across South America, this giant boa waits in swamps, flooded grasslands, and slow rivers. Fish, water birds, capybaras, deer, and caimans may all pass within striking distance. The anaconda grips its prey with backward curving teeth, wraps around the body, and often uses the water to finish the attack. Now move that hunter into an African wetland. Antelope enter the reeds, crocodiles patrol the channels, and Africa's own giant constrictor already hunts along the banks. Could a green anaconda survive here? Most of Africa would be a harsh place for it. Crossing an open savanna in the heat would leave a large anaconda heavy, exposed, and far from the safety of water. Deserts, cool highlands, and grasslands that dry completely would stop it even faster. The snake needs a very different version of Africa: warm, shallow water, thick vegetation, and enough permanent pools to outlast the dry season. Green anacondas already cope with seasonal floods in South America. As the water retreats, they follow the remaining channels, gather in ponds, or shelter in wet mud. Their slow metabolism allows them to wait weeks between meals. Where in Africa could all of those needs come together? Follow the largest rivers toward the equator, and one place stands out: the Congo basin. At its center lies the Cuvette Centrale, an enormous low bowl where water spreads through the forest. It contains permanent swamps, flooded trees, lagoons, muddy creeks, and wide mats of aquatic plants. Some areas remain underwater throughout the year. Others rise and fall with the seasons, creating the same mix of wetlands that anacondas use in South America. The deep main channel of the Congo gives the snake fewer places to hide. Quieter side channels and flooded forests are far more useful. An anaconda could rest under floating vegetation, wait beside an animal trail, and move between pools without spending much time on dry ground. The warm equatorial climate would keep it active through the year. Would it find enough to eat? The swamp would be full of possible meals. Young anacondas could begin with fish, frogs, water birds, and small mammals. As females grow, their menu would expand to monkeys, duikers, young red river hogs, and other animals visiting the water. Sitatunga could become especially important. These swamp antelope walk through reeds and mud, and they often enter deeper water when escaping danger. A calf moving through a narrow channel could enter the exact kind of ambush site an anaconda prefers. Africa's largest animals would stay safely off the menu. A healthy adult hippo, buffalo, or forest elephant is far beyond the reach of any living snake. Even smaller prey can break ribs or damage a jaw during the struggle. Anacondas survive by choosing manageable meals and attacking from cover. Finding food would only be the beginning. The newcomer would soon meet Africa's own heavyweight snake. African rock pythons commonly reach 10 to 16 feet, or 3 to 5 meters, with exceptional individuals growing even larger. They live across much of sub-Saharan Africa and often stay close to rivers, lakes, and moist forests. Their prey includes rodents, monkeys, antelope, large birds, monitor lizards, and occasional crocodiles. Many of those animals would also attract an anaconda. Could both giant snakes share the same swamp? A rich wetland could probably support them. Rock pythons spend more time on land and can shelter inside burrows, rocky spaces, and dry forest. Anacondas are much more dependent on shallow water. One would work the banks and forest floor. The other would spend more time inside reed beds, muddy pools, and flooded channels. Would they fight? Direct clashes would probably be rare. A large constrictor gains little from wrestling an equally powerful animal covered in sharp teeth. Their real competition would happen through missed meals, occupied hiding places, and access to the best ambush sites. Either snake might eat a much smaller rival if the opportunity appeared. A rock python lays eggs in a sheltered hollow and coils around them until they hatch. A female anaconda gives birth to live young, usually in or beside water. Flooded forests would provide newborn anacondas with immediate access to cover, food, and escape routes. Crocodiles would create a more dangerous problem. Dwarf crocodiles and African slender-snouted crocodiles inhabit the Congo basin. A large female anaconda might take a young crocodile. Larger adults could seize the snake during an ambush or when it was slowed by a recent meal. Juvenile anacondas would face danger from crocodiles, monitor lizards, birds of prey, and other carnivores from the moment they were born. Nile crocodiles become a greater threat in wetlands such as the Sud and the Okavango. Large adults can exceed 13 feet, or 4 meters, and weigh more than 900 pounds, or 400 kilograms. Size decides these encounters. A small crocodile may become prey for a large anaconda. A fully grown Nile crocodile holds the advantage through its weight, armor, and immense bite. Hippos would add occasional chaos by charging through narrow channels. Humans would create much wider pressure. Large snakes are often killed near villages because people fear for their livestock or personal safety. The Congo still contains remote swamp forests where a small population could remain hidden for years, especially during its earliest stages. Could anacondas survive beyond the Congo? A few other wetlands deserve attention. The Sud of South Sudan contains permanent swamps, lagoons, seasonal floodplains, and enormous reed beds. Fish, waterbirds, and wetland antelope are plentiful, and the climate remains warm. Green anacondas could gather around permanent channels during the dry months, much as they do around shrinking pools in Venezuela. Nile crocodiles and human activity would reduce their chances, leaving the quietest permanent swamps as their best refuge. Farther south, the Okavango Delta looks promising when its annual flood spreads across the Kalahari. Permanent waterways remain after much of the flood retreats, and prey gathers around them in huge numbers. Winter nights can approach freezing, placing the green anaconda near the edge of the climate it could tolerate. The surrounding desert would also isolate any snakes living there. An individual might survive in the warmest permanent channels. A breeding population would face a much harder test. Other African rivers and lakes offer smaller pockets of suitable habitat. Deep open water provides little cover. Fast currents demand too much energy. Wetlands that vanish during drought leave a heavy aquatic snake stranded. Africa has plenty of water, and only a small portion of it works for an anaconda. Could a few animals actually establish a population? Their reproduction gives them a real chance. Green anacondas reach maturity at about 3 to 4 years old. A large female can give birth to 20 to 40 live young, each one ready to swim, hide, and hunt. Females invest so much energy in pregnancy that many skip the following breeding season. Most newborns would be eaten by fish, crocodiles, birds, and other predators. A few survivors from each litter could gradually spread through connected channels. Finding them again would be extremely difficult inside a flooded forest larger than many countries. By the time local people began seeing anacondas regularly, several generations might already occupy the surrounding wetlands. The clearest answer comes from the Congo basin. A breeding group of green anacondas could probably find enough food, reproduce, and expand along its flooded forests. The permanent heart of the Sud also offers a realistic chance. The Okavango sits closer to their climactic limit, making a stable population less certain. Dry savannas, deserts, and cool highlands would keep the snakes tied to isolated wetlands. Green anacondas could survive in Africa. Their range would remain concentrated around warm, heavily vegetated water, with the Congo providing their strongest foothold. Africa has no native anacondas because their lineage evolved in South America long after the Atlantic had separated the continents. In this case, the ocean has been a stronger barrier than the habitat itself. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. You can also leave a comment with what you would like to see in the following videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.